To open the chapter, we arrive at the flower capital of Wano. Someone yells out that they can't believe something like a 𝙑𝙤𝙪𝙢𝙪 can get signals abroad. Then we hear another say Orochi had this in the castle. We then see Momonosuke talking about Joy Boy being a pirate who sounds like Luffy. Kinemon asks Momo if he's heard of Joy Boy before. We then go to the brig at Naval Base G4. The former fake Luffy, Damalo, Black, from the Straw Hats post-time skip arrival at Sabaody Archipelago and his crew. They are now dressed as the Kid Pirates. They mention how Joy Boy's passed away and there's no way he's stronger than Damalo, who's now saying he's Captain Kidd, although locked up. While this is going on, Vegapunk's broadcast is still ongoing. He utters, but as for why Joy Boy was called a pirate, I have only read from a handful of poneglyphs, but what I found through them was a record of a breathtakingly vast war. Joy Boy's enemy was the world government of the present day. Some Marines overhear this broadcast and question themselves, but realize this is their job, to hunt down pirates. Vegapunk continues. More accurately, it was the precursor to the world government, a provisional army assembled by 20 kingdoms known as the Alliance. During this time, we see Luffy, Broggy, and Dory running from a rampaging Saint Warkery. Then we get to the lab where Saint Mars uses Conqueror's Haki to knock out all 𝙑𝙤𝙪𝙢𝙪 in his area. Vegapunk continues. You might say they had no other choice. So robust was Joy Boy's faction. Without knowing the spark that caused the war, I won't say who was right or wrong. I'll state that two competing ideologies came head to head. As I mentioned earlier, for its time 900 years ago, the country of Joy Boy's birth was a startlingly advanced civilization. Even I, a humble genius, cannot replicate them. And therein lies the problem. During the speech, we see Zunisha, a silhouette of Joy Boy opposing who seems to be the world government at the time, the Mokumo Dukedom listening in with Carrot, and the Foxy Pirates are confused about the whole transmission. What did you guys think about this part of the chapter? Starting with Lawrence.
I just hope that we don't see that, I guess, Joy Boy, that he looks like Luffy. I hope we don't get that, like he's like a spinning image of Luffy now and back then. I hope we don't get that. Like, yeah, there's going to be some similarities because they both were a pirate and they both, I guess, free-spirited and they both have the same fruit. I couldn't believe we saw this person back again. D'Amelio Black. I was like, wow. And I'm like, hold on. How'd you not get captured in, in Sabaody?
Marines, bro.
Hey,
he
man.
probably escaped.
Because we saw Tomorrow like call like this fake person, like, and he hit him. So it's like, all right, you guys all got nabbed up, I'm pretty sure, right? We saw Tomorrow take you out personally. You're in prison now, but like, where'd you have the time to change the kids? You know what I'm saying? Because you should have been locked up. Like, you should be in Apple down right now. Where are you getting kids' uniform from? Like, I thought that was hilarious. And he's talking about, and one, you're clearly in prison now. There's no one stronger than him. Like,
yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. It had me dying. People in One Piece, when we notice, like, their egos or what they believe in themselves, like, I'm the strongest, even though you're clearly not. But they had this attitude about themselves that they could take on the whole world if they wanted to.
Yeah.
And that was, like, even the fodder people had this attitude. It was like, where are you getting this from? When Vegapunk was talking about, like, only a handful of poneglyphs, I was like, how much time he said he spent in the dragon's lair when they took all that information. Honestly, yeah, we know he doesn't have the red ones, right? But I'm thinking all what the Ohara took. I'm not saying that Vegapunk downplayed it, but I feel like they had a lot more. Because I kind of feel like they had almost, not every single poneglyph. So I feel like the Ohara had years upon years of what they were building. The red ones is very limited, so I can understand that why they wouldn't have those. But to me, what I always thought is that Vegapunk, you only don't know is the complete story, like the end line. You know, what the red poneglyphs say and what's at Laugh Tale. That's the only thing you don't know. But he's trying to say, no, I don't, and there's more I don't know. Which makes the story of what we're going to get to greater. You know, like, all right, there's something that even with all the Vegapunk bed, all of what Ohara has, there's still pieces that we don't know, into it. I thought that was dope. With him walking through, it is not using Conquerors, knocking out, even though it's like the 𝙑𝙤𝙪𝙢𝙪, it's like that's nothing. Each one of them are going to have Conquerors, it looks like. And that was just a dope moment right here because they're listening to what you're saying and how much they want to stop it. So they're doing everything they can to. That's completely all they're focused on. And now we hear that the 20 kingdoms was called the Alliance. They had a name to it before they became the world government. Because we always talked about like why they had to team up. And it kind of represents the ancient kingdom. So we always think like we don't know the affiliation between Joy Boy and the ancient kingdom. Like how close aligned are they? You know, some people are thinking like he was the king, or some people are thinking he was their Noland. He was their adventurer or whatever. I was thinking it could be like Oda could possibly be doing very similar to Odin. Odin could have foreshadowed Joy Boy in that way where like he's the heir to the throne. like Joy Boy's father is the king of the kingdom, and Joy Boy is the heir to the throne, but he kind of wants to venture out on his own, stuff like that. So I was kind of linking that possibly. But he said that they were so strong. They use the word robust, but if you look at the word, it means strong, healthy, like thriving, vibrant. Like everything they had everything the world had to offer, pretty much. Technology, power, might, strength, everything. That anyway to compete against this ancient kingdom, that you had to get these 20 kingdoms to combat against them. Vegapunk kind of wanted to be a celestial dragon. And he keeps kind of re-saying the same thing over and over. I'm not going to tell you who's wrong or right. I'm not going to tell you there's a bad side or a good side. So even though he knows what the world government is capable of, and he's seeing what they did, he knows what led up to this, but he's still not saying that they're bad. He's still not saying that they're evil. So it goes into everyone talks about ideologies where this person believed in this one and this person believed in this one. That's how usually wars kind of start. Not necessarily there's a good guy or a bad guy, but from our perspective, the world government's pure evil. But back then, we know it's different. It just means that how crazy strong the ancient kingdom had to be for them to align 20 kingdoms. Because if you think about 20 kingdoms, that is crazy. Because not every island is a kingdom. The power of a kingdom, but you have 20 of those. And they seem like they were warriors because we see that little silhouette. He looks like Luffy, but not Luffy. Which I kind of liked about that. When he's battling against them, and that's them finding all the 20 kingdoms. I know I've been talking for a minute. Foxy. I was like, why are we showing him even? I was like, what's the point? But then it made me think. I look at him. I go, he lost again. Because if you look at his ship, that giant one he had he doesn't have them. Where he has his little rowboat with his face on it. So he lost a Davy back fight.
And they hungry, bro.
They're starving. But yeah, I'll end up my turn for now.
All right, Seb.
All right, so there's a lot here to go over.
There's so much.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, we have to get through the chap.
I'm going to go piece by piece. It was cool seeing Momo and Kinemon and my girl Shinobu and Otama. I was trying to remember who the hell that guy on the back left is. I don't think he's anybody relevant.
I can't see it.
Yeah,
he didn't look recognizable.
Yeah. When I tell you I cracked up when I saw DeMarco Black, I was like, one, bruh, give it up. Like, it's over.
Yeah.
Two, how recently have you started doing this? Because Kid only very recently got taken out, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like, that was like a couple days ago.
Oda's so messed up for this.
So the news reported that Kid lost already, I guess, to Shanks. And like, he was like, oh, I bet I'm going to just be Kid. like, come on, bro. And then he got locked up like seconds after that, I guess. Because like, he locked up. I laughed so hard. I also laughed at that Marine that was like, wait, that's us? Because I always be like, that me. Like all the time when I see myself on screen, like he's like, oh wait, that's us. Like we're those people he's talking about. Workery just looks menacing. They're still out. I did really like Mars walking through, like Lawrence said. The silhouette was cool. I did like the juxtaposition of it with Zunisha being like right next to it. Because it's like Zunisha was there. Yeah. Like it experienced these things for real. I would have liked a cleaner silhouette, personally. I didn't like that. Like, he's wearing a sash too. How Luffy we gonna be?
I do not think
sash is very pirate.
It's a sash, bro.
Even if it is, sash is piratey though. Sash is pirate.
know.
All pirates kind of wear sashes though, so it's not just to Luffy.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
Sash.
I don't think that's a sash. I think that's the cloak.
You think it's the cloak? Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine it's his tail.
I thought sash. You're saying cloak.
You getting a One Piece madness?
You're saying tail.
I think it's the cloak. Put a pull up.
I'll put a pull up.
Yeah, put a pull up.
It's probably a sash, but yeah.
Y'all asked me earlier what I thought about the chapter. And I said F this chapter.
Okay.
This is why.
Because of Foxy?
Because of Carrot.
Oh my god.
Why, bro? Oda, why?
Oh my god.
I'm the last one to the party. I understand that. I should have accepted this a year ago. It's been like a year. Why, bro?
Yeah.
Why, bro? Where in her story is she the leader of the Minx? Like, nothing in her story tells me that. And out of nowhere, she's just here now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I just kind of brushed past it. I was just like,
yeah, y'all know me, bro. I focus. The biggest thing I like about One Piece is the storytelling. There is no element in Carrot's story that tells me that she should be the leader of the Minx. Yeah. And yet, this is what I'm forced to deal with.
Listen, bro, she got that mink coat on too.
Oh man,
it is a match.
You get it?
It's just
mink coat. All right, never mind.
It made me cringe, bro. I was visibly upset when I read it.
Yeah,
but it was good to see her because I like Carrot. That's my girl. I just wanted bigger things for her than.
It would have been better if she was a Straw Hat than ruling the main kingdom. That's crazy. But she would have been better as a Straw Hat. I would say writing wise. Yeah.
I try not to let agenda piece win out.
Yeah,
it went out when I read this chapter, bro.
Damn.
I was salty.
It's okay.
Actively, bro. I liked seeing Foxy. I didn't expect to see him, so when I saw him, I started laughing. Overall, to Vegapunk's point about the Ancient Kingdom, Lawrence highlighted this a little bit. It reminded me of two things. One was a quote that power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. So in the world government's case, they were this alliance in the past that had to band together to fight whatever this ancient kingdom that was clearly superior to them in technology and advancements and such. And Vegapunk speaking, again, he doesn't have all the knowledge, and he said, you know, ideologies clashed. I won't say who's right or who's wrong. We do know somebody that does know the full knowledge and still gave basically the same answer. Rayleigh. Rayleigh said, we know the true history, but I'm going to leave it to y'all to decipher for yourselves. Basically not saying who was right, who was wrong in that moment, but alluding to who was right, who was wrong in that moment. You can make the decision, your choice, based off the information that you guys get. So I love that there is nuance here. It's not like, oh, the world government's just evil at the end of the day, which is probably going to be what we, as the reader, Luffy as the main character, will decide. But there is some element of nuance there and like perspective there that's always kind of been there in One Piece, at least in these major storylines. We had it in Marineford where Doflamingo gave the speech. We've had it in several backstories. We've had it in just dilemmas and characters and things that people have decided. So I like that that's still going to be prevalent in the final saga.
Yeah.
Like, it's not just Imu's evil as hell.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like, with all the tie-ins that we get to Enel, Enel is, like, one of those villains that, Enel was just evil as hell. There was no real nuance to why he was doing what he did. He just felt like, I'm a god. I deserve this. Y'all are lesser. So I started to feel a little bit like we might start leaning heavier into that, where it's just like, nah, they're just evil. I always harpen back to, like, when they made the decision to clip O'Hara, the Gorosei felt like remorse for it.
Yeah.
So, like, there's some elements of, like, decency in them. They just are also very, very, very willing to go to that dark side of them as well. It made me more interested in what the story actually is.
Yeah.
Which is good. I mean, if you can still do that after 1,500 chapters or whatever we're at now, 1,115 chapters, like, shout out to Oda for that. I'll stop there because I have more, but
We're good, bro.
it's stuff I can expand on later, is why.
Oh, okay. There's a bit of poetry to Wano's borders being closed for so long that they are amazed by the technology of, like, 𝙏𝙏𝙀𝙀 Mushis. I thought that was really cool. Kenimon asking Momonosuke if he knew who Joy Boy was. An interesting moment for me. Why? In chapter 1000, Yamato tells Momo that she picked up Odin's journal from the foot of the river of Odin's castle on that terrible day when it burned down when she was a child. In chapter 1012, Momonosuke starts to read that journal. In chapter 1014, Momonosuke realizes that he must not pass away no matter what. In chapter 1040, he tells Yamato that Zunisha's close by. Yamato responds with, "The elephant from Odin's journal?" Momonosuke responds, "Indeed, the companion of Joy Boy who committed a crime 800 years ago." In chapter 1041, Momonosuke says he doesn't know Zunisha's crime. He only spoke to Zunisha for a moment. Yamato then tells him it's just as Odin anticipated. He could speak to Zunisha, and he's the one to guide the world to the dawn. Momonosuke says after reading the journal, he learned why it's so important not to pass away, but Odin tore out that page, which was the most crucial part of the journal. What did Roger's crew see on that island that made them laugh? Why would he say to open Wano's borders? Then in chapter 1044, Zunisha tells Momonosuke that Luffy is actually Joy Boy. So, from what I could gather, Odin's journal contains some things. These things are: 1. Zunisha was mentioned as Joy Boy's companion. 2. Zunisha committed a crime. 3. Whoever could talk to Zunisha will be considered Joy Boy. 4. Joy Boy will bring the world to the dawn. 5. Momonosuke will play a major role in bringing the dawn, but Odin tore out why he's needed, which is the most crucial part. 6. Odin told Momonosuke to open Wano's borders. I think Yamato and Momonosuke might be the only people besides the Gorosei, Vegapunk, and Imu who know Joy Boy's true name and the ancient kingdom's name. They don't know why Joy Boy became a pirate or why the war started. This means Odin either didn't know or the last page contained that, and he ripped it out. Just like Rayleigh, like Sebastian said, would tell the Straw Hats what it meant. They might come up with a different answer than what they came up with. It looks like, to me, Joy Boy wanted to be free of something. But because the 20 Kingdoms deemed his actions dangerous, they banded together to stop him. That's what it seems like to me. It gave me relief to see St. Mars using basic Conqueror's Haki.
Yeah.
It's staple indicator. Oda never had characters use this out of convenience. So I'm glad he didn't forget that it exists. Because Luffy should have did it on Wano, and I mentioned it like a million times.
There's so many examples of times people should have been using it.
And they just never were used.
don't use it.
And we could tell it doesn't drain any energy.
I can't say that.
Conqueror's Haki?
The
I
way
can't say that.
they expound, like they emit it.
I can't say that.
I saw Luffy go crazy on Hoodie, bro, at Fishman Island after he did it.
I wouldn't say it drains energy, but only because we all think, when Whitebeard could have used it during Marineford War. Mm-hmm. And I kind of feel like when he was trying to...
Yeah, but he wasn't using
heart.
any hockey, really.
Yeah.
He was probably using basic armament, basic observation. That was it.
But I was just talking about when his heart got stopped, remember? Because when they were about to execute Ace, his heart stopped and he couldn't do it, then Luffy did it for him in a way. So I was thinking, it could be just because he was sick.
I found Joy Boy's silhouette very interesting. His hair looks longer than Luffy's, and it's definitely a cloak, bro. The cloak is just a little long on him.
We'll see, bro.
I will say that.
We'll see.
I love the opposing ideologies idea. I mentioned previously that Oda should take the route of Attack on Titan. Don't make one side good or the other bad. The world doesn't work like that. Nothing is ever truly black and white. Whatever the country Joy Boy's from, they may have posed a major threat to the world, bro. That's really what it is. The alliance was formed, but power corrupted them over time, which is the result of becoming the bad guys. I think power just corrupted them over 800 years.
And that's the case for the world government. All the piracy that they see is really the result of all the
Suppression
stuff. Yeah, all the lack of resources that they leave out to everybody else.
Yeah.
They take, and leave everybody the scraps, and they fight for the scraps.
Because the reason I'm saying is because, for example, if you think about for Star Wars again, they kind of do it in a way for protection. Even, I think Jedi, you can't even have families. Right? Yeah. So it's a reason why they can't have certain emotions. So it's to restrict it because the danger of it. But if you think about the world government, they don't want you becoming a pirate because they see a danger of it, right? But now we learn it's linking back to Joy Boy. Why the war kind of started. We don't, again, Vegapunk said it, we don't know the spark that lit the fire, but the thing that happened, in a way, could have started with piracy. So now they're trying to put an end to all that because of the potential danger while creating enemies while they're trying to suppress this danger that
trying to suppress piracy to create more piracy.
Exactly.
Yeah. The final thing I want to tackle is Vegapunk admitting that whatever this civilization created could not be replicated by him. So that means the Mother Flame is not the ancient energy source that he dreamt of. The lineage factor might just be a fraction of the ancient kingdom's knowledge, and most of his inventions lack in comparison. I've never been a fan of Vegapunk being like a fraud. Still, it brings up an interesting point in saying he's only been able to reverse engineer some of the tech he's found, meanwhile creating his own. But that doesn't necessarily mean he's the smartest we've ever seen. He's just a few hundred years advanced compared to what they were doing.
So to that point that you have there, Oda's setting himself up for potentially a big miss. You need to actively create technology that's more advanced than what Vegapunk has created by hundreds of years. Whenever you reveal whatever the ancient kingdom actually is. I believe in Oda, I believe he will, but I better start seeing some wild Futurama-esque, or you know what I mean? I need to see some Rick and Morty-esque stuff, bro, from these ancient kingdoms, or at least the ancient kingdom.
I've never been a fan of that Vegapunk's a fraud theory. I just think that he has been able to reverse engineer a lot, and you already have to be insanely smart to reverse engineer anything.
I think the only piece of him that even speaks to the fraud element is he got performance enhancers with that devil fruit.
Yeah.
As far as maintaining and capturing knowledge.
To me, I don't even think Vegapunk's a fraud. Someone could be smarter than you 1,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
But the point is, it's most of his inventions haven't been
They're not organic.
his own.
Yeah.
That's the point. It's the only ones that we know for sure is his failures. So when we go back to Karakuri, his hometown, he didn't finish the geothermal invention that he had for the island to heat it up.
Yeah.
That was done. And then the inventions we saw on his maps were him combining devil fruits or his machines, or putting machines into animals. So that's something that he created, which we've seen, the CBs. But everything else, like the pacifistas and
Seraphim.
the Seraphim and all that stuff, lineage factor was found by him. But then again, we also don't know because he's also, a part of the world government.
Yeah.
So he probably had access to some stuff already.
That's true. That food machine, though.
Yeah,
Again, we might not know if that's from him or... To further this point is what happened in chapter 355. Tom stated that the ancient shipwrights 800 years ago had built Pluton. When the world government caught wind of this, Tom was like, yo, here's the blueprints to Iceberg. And he accepted them. And then Frankie and him took a look at the blueprints. And then Frankie was like, humans could build this? Like, what? And then Iceberg's reaction was, who would want to build this? For me, when you look at Pluton and the ancient civilization that Joy Boy is from, you start to realize, like, maybe these 20 kingdoms weren't the bad people. Maybe they saw the world being endangered because of these ancient weapons, because the way they were being used. So it's like, yo, I don't see how, like, you wouldn't think that was a threat unless they weren't sharing technology. And that's also a possibility that the ancient kingdom,
not, then
it's like, yo, we gotta revolt because you're building things that literally have caused the damage it has caused. And this is the world we live in right now. This war that was created, I'm sorry, but like that war created this current time. But they were because of the ancient weapons. The 20 kingdoms might have been in a right at that point in time to be like, we got to take you guys out. Because as of right now, you're endangering the whole world. We are the 20 kingdoms. We are the most powerful kingdoms we've yet known to the world. We have to take you out. It's impossible to let you go on. It kind of brings up that Tom idea, that everything that's built isn't always meant to destroy. It's meant to be how you use it. Do you use it for destruction or do you use it for good? But also there comes with a responsibility of even creating it. So if the ancient kingdom is creating and using this inappropriately, I can see how the 20 kingdoms might have got hold of an ancient weapon like Pluton or maybe Uranus or Uranus, however you say it, and they used it upon the world ancient kingdom. And then they were like, yo, it's worth taking you out and risking the world to be what it is later on, instead of you doing whatever you want and then we have to deal with the devastation of that. You might take out the world one day.
Maybe Joy Boy like Blackbeard, bro.
Yeah.
It makes you think, remember especially used to bring out how, like, in a way, abilities, walking nukes, or like, or in a way, like world powers, in a way, so to speak. But you have the ancient kingdom who have multiple, and they have all this stuff, and the Lions are like, yo, they're too strong. No one can compete against them if they decide to, like, attack or do whatever.
I was going to make a Manji Empire reference, but never mind. No one's going to get it but you. So it's fine.
Yeah, so it's like, saying that they're too strong, and also they could be, from what we've seen from, like, sometimes even the Monkey D Clan or even like Vegapunk, one thing that they have in common, even though they kind of seem like they're worlds apart, is their recklessness. Vegapunk in his inventions, like Jimbei even called them out, because it was like, you want to share this and have everyone do this, but then Jimbei said, but wouldn't you have the problem where people's different ideologies and cultures what they're bringing understand that differently, and then that would cause more war. Right? And Vegapunk, see, you can't let that limit you. Yeah. And then the D's, what we see, like Luffy and them, they can be very reckless with how they do things and how they use things. Like, you know, not really think of all the surrounding factors of how this is going to affect other people. I just want the immediate action or the immediate advantage now. Like Luffy freeing Ace. He's not thinking about how letting all these prisoners are affected. I just want to free my brother, you know? Yeah. So they could be very much like that, too, and how they were using these ancient weapons or their technology.
Next, we head to the labo phase. We see Stussy and Kaku. Edison calls Stussy. He tells her to lower the barrier and run for safety. She says everyone needs her still, but Edison says at this point, the barrier is useless since it can't keep out the Gorosei. He's done all he can for the Straw Hats. They got it from here. Nami calls Jinbei and acts as if he's on his way. He says almost sorry. Zoro tells him not to apologize. Nami says she's going to smack Zoro after this. She wants them to hurry since ships are coming their way. Stussy is relieved she did all she could. She doesn't know what to do anymore. She doesn't know what to live for. We go to Bonnie, Sanji, and the Giants fighting Saint Ethan, Venus, Juro. Ethan sees Bonnie and goes to cut her. Frankie clotheslines her to move out of the way of his attack. Ethan cuts the giant warrior pirate's ship. Bonnie says she can't hold her devil fruit form for too long. Vegapunk continues his broadcast. The Void Century came to a close with the defeat of Joy Boy, but not before leaving vast permanent scars of war across the face of the world. Ethan, upset with this broadcast, jumps into the air, readies his sword, and cuts through the entire egghead. He causes everyone to be shocked at its result. Vegapunk continues. The world is made up of a series of islands. Sailing between them is difficult, and many people never experience anything but their culture at home. But this shared understanding of the world does not seem necessarily apply to the world of 1,000 years ago, because a cataclysm occurred during the last century, causing the world to sink once before. We live on the pieces of a continent that existed long ago. The world of a millennium ago now slumbers unseen at the bottom of the sea. We see CP agents falling from the sky. Reactions from around the world. Zoro's sensei, Shimotsuki Kiyoshiro, looks on, and the revolutionaries are shocked by this revelation. What did you guys think about this part of the chapter? Starting with Law.
To me, I was so confused by this. I kept saying bio response detected. You sound like a robot, like, you know, like bio response detected. Well, I guess he's sensing. Because the main thing we know that the Gorosei, even though they're dealing with this conflict with, like we saw with Saturn and the Straw Hats and now Venus with them, this is not their attention, their focus. Their main focus is trying to destroy whatever is transmitting Vegapunk's message. So in my mind, I'm like, I guess he's detecting, because one translation said sense for life forms, but now this one says bio response detected. It sounds different than sensing life forms, because the other translation, I understood, oh, he's sensing for where he could find it. Because then also too, we see him do that big cut towards the Lappo Stadium. That's where he's sensing. That's where he's trying to figure out, like, I'm getting tired of this. And that cut was huge. Apparently, they said that in the chat on the message that he could cut like anything. Still remains to be seen but I guess it's supposed to be impressive, you know. But I don't know how to scale this unless he cut through the barrier. But I don't think he did. You know, I don't think he cut through the barrier, because then that would be impressive. Because the whole barrier that's like destroying, and then when they go through it, he's able to just cut through it. If that's what he did, then that makes it an even greater feat than I thought of. I want to get to this part. I thought it was interesting because going by what he's saying, he's talking about traveling to islands, but it didn't seem like that was the case for them whatever years ago. It made me think of them. We go and it shows a picture of them sunk to the bottom of the sea. If we're going off the ancient kingdom, right, and it talked about has all this advanced technology and what it has as power and all that stuff, but also because how you know it talked about it being a continent, not a country. It made me think of how massive the ancient kingdom must have been. What if the ancient kingdom was, obviously to me it had to be like the biggest piece of land in the One Piece world. But what if it was so big?
Pause.
That it covered the majority of the New World. Like, you know how there's a bunch of different islands? No, it was just like one giant island that covered like the majority of the New World. That's what I thought of it, what he was saying, because traveling, if that continent is that big, you have everything here in this one island. Everything, not islands are separated, all the islands are basically one island. You know, there's more I want to add on this to later on because we didn't get there yet. So I'm going to stop it there for now, but I'm expanding on a point I want to bring up later.
All right, Seb?
One, I thought the Nami Zoro thing was funny as hell, to me, a little bit. Like, I thought it was funny. He's like, don't apologize, Jinbei. She's like, shut up. The Stussy piece of it, it hurt my heart. You know what I mean? I mess with Stussy, and she's out here like, without this dude, like, what do I live for? It's been this constant theme of this arc about like free will and like whether or not these clones are people and stuff. Like, we're dabbling into that a little bit, and Stussy, I guess, will be the one that provides that real answer, or that clear, concise answer that Oda's going to provide. That's going to be her storyline going forward here. What that is, I don't know. I don't know what that will be exactly, or how he'll highlight it. Hopefully, she's just not stuck on Vegapunk like for the rest of her arc. I'd probably lean off of her for that one. I thought Bonnie kicking Sanji was funny. At least that's how I thought happened. I might be misreading that. I don't know. But I thought that was funny. She was like, don't let him use that katana, and like she's kicking. Or Nesjuro just rocks Sanji. Either way, I thought Sanji falling back that way looked funny to me. This dude's strong as hell. I feel like it's time to start acknowledging that. Like, I'm not going to make any crazy Mihawk comparisons just yet, but it did remind me of Mihawk cutting the iceberg. And this was more impressive to me. Although, in Mihawk's case, it was kind of like a casual slash. Him, like, identifying, like, the life form thing that Lawrence was talking about and, like, getting up there and swinging, I was trying to figure out what he meant by the obnoxious bioresponse. I guess other translations have different ways of saying this. But I think the most important feast there is that the Seraphim are free. And, like, the Seraphim listen to the Gorosei above everybody else. So we always talk about it, Lawrence, like, the raising of the stakes, like, making it more and more and more and more difficult as each chapter goes by, and shout out to Nesjuro, he just made it more difficult for them to escape. I really liked that panel of the bottom of the sea. It's one of those, like, when Oda really does want to draw, he can draw. Like, I thought this looked really good. The shading was dope. He doesn't always bring this out, so I like seeing it. I thought Ivanka's face was funny as hell, too. Did you get to that part?
Yeah.
Okay. Ivanka's face was funny. I don't even want to speak on Dragon, bro. I don't. I'll let you do that, bro. I'm good. I'm all the way good on that right now. In regards to the Ancient Kingdom and the stuff that Joyboy was saying about it being sunk, it confirmed a lot of theories, confirmed things people were saying over the past couple weeks with what was being stated. What Lawrence was just saying about how large the continent must have been. I know that people have said this online. I think I started thinking, I might actually believe it or start thinking it. But what if the Ancient Kingdom, at least in part, is just the red line? moved up, moved up in that way. So, and like the red line stretches the entire world, right? Like around the globe. If you flattened it and spread it out, could it be that continent? Now, Vegapunk's theory, or at least what he's saying and what we're seeing, is that it's all on the bottom of the ocean. So I guess that doesn't really work. But then what's the red line? Maybe it's an addition that came that caused the sinking. But at the top of the red line is Pangaea's castle. And Pangaea is essentially what Vegapunk is speaking to. The existence of this giant landmass that pre-existed or predated the structure of the world that we see now. I don't know. I'm just curious to see more. That's it for me.
The Stussy arc about to end. I'm intrigued by the depth Oda has given her character through the clone plot. It's fascinating to consider what the Seraphims might do once this is all over. Is Kaku having a change of heart? He looks sad about the Stussy dilemma.
He see his end, bro. She fine.
He was like, can she produce?
Come on.
I'm done, bro. Why did I say that?
Savage.
Shout out to Edison. Real MVP.
Yeah. I forgot to help my boy out, bro.
Shout out to, we got Saint Saturn walking through the halls with no hall pass. Just conquers
Yeah, I
hockey.
forgot to mention that was a dope scene too.
That was pretty cool too, that we had 2 Gorosei members doing that. Straw Hat banter will always be my favorite part of any One Piece chapter. I love the Nami and Zoro and Jinbei little banter there. Sanji just can't catch a damn break, bro.
Hey,
my boy is on his back with his legs up in the air.
Oh my God, you bringing that back?
Oh my God.
You're bringing that back, bro.
Oh my God. Meanwhile, Bonnie is out here Bruce Lee kicking. The Giants are swinging off and Frankie is being helpful. Oda, I think, hates Sanji more than I do. I think so, bro. There's no way you could keep treating this boy like this, bro. Like, come on, bro.
He will, bro.
Sanji, get a dub, bro. Look cool for once. I'm rooting for you this time. I feel so bad. The fact that...
No, you don't.
I don't. The fact that... No, I actually don't like that he's getting played so much this arc. I will say that. Like, I kind of hate it.
I'm just used to it. He gotta have his highlight moment.
But
when
it's not just Sanji though. Like if you look at when he cut off the part of that ship, he's like trampling on the other giant.
Yo, I don't care,
Yeah,
bro.
but that's a giant. This is Sanji, bro. You know
They
what
just
I'm
showed
saying?
Sanji getting thrown by S-Shark in the anime, bro. Disrespectfully.
Yeah, that
This is just too much Sanji disrespect. But people will never see this clip. They'll just think I hate Sanji a lot. The fact that they mentioned Ethan can cut through anything does bring back the memory of Zoro talking to his sensei, Shimotsuki Kishiro. In chapter 194, Kyoshiro told Zoro, the pinnacle of swordsmanship is the power to protect what one wishes to protect and cut what one wishes to cut. A blade that injures all it touches isn't a sword. Then in chapter 195, Zoro says he could feel the rocks, trees, the earth, and steel off of Mr. One breathing.
Pause.
I think the bubbles from Ethan are his swordsmanship's breathing. I think this is the bio-response. I think it's his own breathing techniques. Or,
Like from Demon Slayer?
could be, kind of. This is how he's able to cut everything. So, whatever this bio-response is, it is a different form of swordsmanship we haven't seen before. Shout out to Mihawk for, once again, not versing this person. Also, Oda putting Kyoshiro in the chapter after that cut is fantastic. So I think there's a little bit of insinuation saying, hey, this is probably a breathing technique that swordsmen use. Oda saying that One Piece's world was much like ours. We once had a single continent called Pangaea. In One Piece, they had a single continent too. Our Pangaea broke apart due to earthquakes from the tectonic plates. In One Piece, it's because of artificial earthquakes created from weapons of mass destruction. I love this idea. Interesting side note, Imu resides in the castle at Marijoa called Pangaea Castle. So I think the red line was actually created probably 800, 900 years ago due to the ancient weapons. Because when you cause earthquakes, it also creates mountains. That's how mountains are created. Is Oda saying the whole world of One Piece is just Atlantis?
Was he on that episode where I said this? Maybe not. I don't remember.
Maybe he's saying the lost world of, is Atlantis. And since the 4 road poneglyphs actually point to a certain middle, it's probably down in the water. The ancient kingdom is sunk. Atlantis. I don't know. We got confirmation that Dragon didn't go to Egghead as I hoped. I hope he was coming to Egghead, bro. And he didn't. He's still brooding, by the way. Not shocked at the information, like everyone else is. It just proves that the revolutionaries didn't know anything. Again, I do not understand the Dragon hype. I do not think I ever will until he actually does something. It will be very interesting to see just what Dragon is going to mean to the story, if anything. Because at this point, there's too many people that fill his role, and there's too many ways that he could just not be involved.
He gonna fight one of the guards.
He gonna have to fight one of them and say something cool, but like, at this point, it's like, what do we need him for, bro? He's not making an impact. It's just disappointing. I had the audacity to say in that panel, he just decided to scurry straight to Egghead.
Yeah, you did, bro. You was tripping.
I was tripping, apparently.
You was tripping,
So
bro.
I don't know what to do anymore.
You're
bro.
trying to believe.
I was trying to have hope. Yes, I gave myself hope, and
He's gonna do something.
it disintegrated into nothing.
You gotta do something. It's just
Yeah.
it's too late for me to care, bro.
But when
First.
I bet you when the order writes it, it's gonna be great.
It'll be great. It'll just be too late.
And I was gonna say clone Bastussi.
What?
Clone Bastussi.
Come on, bro. What's wrong with you, bro? Wasn't any Stussy cosplays at MomoCon?
Yeah,
That would've
bro.
been tough.
Finally, at the end of the chapter, Vegapunk continues his broadcast. In fact, one can assume that in the past, there were a number of continents we know nothing about. We head to Nami's hometown, Kokoyasi Village, where they are shocked by the news. Nojiko tells everyone to give the rest of the information to her later. She's going to check on the tangerine groves. Vegapunk continues. If the world were still the same as it was in the past,
Why are you assuming
Then
Vegapunk
the-
is German, bro? What is this?
then the act of erasing 100 years of history would be simply unthinkable and impossible. However, it makes it much more sense when you understand that the rise in sea level over that century was 200 meters. Then Marines are in disbelief at this news. Mock Town residents say Vegapunk's lying. The Cherry Blossom Kingdom wonders if that's even possible. I believe we see Miss Golden Week and other people around her are comparing 200 meters to the mountains near them. Vegapunk continues on. As for why the sea level rose so much during that century, it would be natural to assume the work of sudden natural disaster. But I can state for a fact that it was a man-made disaster. Big News Morgans yells out that that's just crazy. Vivi covers his beak and tells him to shush. Vegapunk continues. If such cataclysm were caused by natural forces, then the initial disaster would have spanned several centuries, and in fact, slowed but continual damage upon the world.
Why'd you turn Japanese?
But by any measurement, climatology, geology, environmental, and atmosphere science, the dramatic shift could not have happened within a single century. So, the cause of something else. And when I detected the rise in worldwide sea levels the other day, I had my answer. I knew the reason and confirmed its existence. The ancient weapons that sank the world into the sea 800 years ago still existed today and await the moment. Shut up! And awaited the moment that they start once again. In other words, the vast war that arose during the last century never came to an end. We see Imu's eyes at the end of the chapter. What are your thoughts, guys? Starting with Lawrence.
We talked about, again, the ancient kingdom is probably this really, really massive continent. But I thought it was interesting. According to Vegapunk, he's saying what led to it being sunk was the ancient weapons. But from what we understand, the ones who held the power of the ancient weapons was the ancient kingdoms itself. In fact, the world government hasn't really shown or proven to shown that they have it. They kind of been looking for it. We saw it on Water 7, right? That they were trying to get their hands on Pluton. I guess Frankie memorized it, but also burned them up. So he said the only way he has it is in his mind, right? Besides from maybe
Him and
Iceberg.
Iceberg most likely memorized it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Which I don't know how, because they even admitted it was like impossible.
Yeah.
So,
And also, it shouldn't be in humans' hands to create it, right? The danger of it, right? Because we all know, it is, or the makings of it, or to make a new one is on Wano too. But the ancient weapon, when we talk of, is the ancient kingdom had either possession of it or they made it. I don't know if they made it on their continent, which makes more belief, and then they just probably somehow shipped it to Wano. We don't exactly know how it happened. At the end of the day, it's they had multiple ancient weapons. But when we think of if he's saying the ancient weapons is what sunk them, I was just so confused in here because how do you sink yourself? Unless the world government got their hands on it somehow and used it against them. So then if that happened, and we talk about the rising of it, right? So this massive continent, what rose the sea levels up? I was trying to do the math on it, how it makes sense, because the panel here also talked about how that mountain over there is just about 200 meters. Imagine the rise of that high. It sounds like hell. How many people must have passed?
Yeah.
But how does this make sense? If it rose 200 meters from that continent of the ancient kingdom being sunken or whatever, but we do know that people probably have to pass. But all of the islands that the 20 kingdoms used to reside on, they were given to other kingdoms. This is what going with
You mean when the kings of those nations left to 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾𝐨, they still existed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like 𝙏𝙏𝙪𝙢𝙗𝙪 said, after the war, and they decided to reside on 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾𝐨, the 20 kingdoms, the alliance. They assigned those kingdoms, their old kingdoms.
And
right?
they erased the names of themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's where 𝙏𝙏𝙪𝙢, when he lost from 𝐼𝐻𝐻𝐾𝐨, he came back to his old kingdom that his family used to own in 𝙬𝙬𝙪. The rising of that, how come these islands weren't affected?
I would say that they most likely had kingdoms under them. The same way Wano did, remember? And then they moved to Mount Fuji.
Yeah. Okay.
So they probably just migrated. And remember, this is over like 800 years.
Yeah.
I'll say
So
this as well.
landscapes could change through 800 years.
I'll say this as well. In 𝙬𝙬𝙪's specific case, they low-key had a plateau basically built on the island.
flower
itself.
bed.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like that. In case it ever did rise 200 meters, y'all would be good up here. They could have forecasted that just in case. Like, maybe the specific kingdoms or whatever, like the specific kingdoms weren't targeted by these attacks, but they still have fail-safes to protect them, like Wano, like 𝙬𝙬𝙪. I'd have to look at what the other kingdoms are, but do we know exactly? Alabasta, I'm trying to think if it has one. I mean, it itself is like a desert kingdom, so maybe it's just not susceptible to sinking underwater in the same way. There's just no water like around it like that. So I don't know, but you were about to say something.
I was gonna say it also could be that you remember how we theorized, like, how could they ever have won against the ancient kingdom?
Right.
This literally seems impossible. Even if they went against them, there's no way they could beat them. They have ancient weapons. They have Joy Boy. They have Poseidon at their back.
So-
they have everything.
Yeah.
How do you fumble like that?
So how did they fumble? And I think the most likely case is that they acquired an ancient weapon, and the ancient weapon they must have acquired was Uranus.
Yeah.
But that would be what the betrayal probably is. The gifting of one of those ancient weapons to
Bingo.
the 20 kingdoms.
So it's like, maybe that's what happened. And this is just pure theory. It's hypothetical. If that did happen, then they must have known what the cause and effect of it would be. They must have been relayed that information. So through that, they decided we must move up to a higher height just in case things don't work out. But we're going to use this. So those kingdoms probably exist only because they took action before they took action. You know what I'm saying? All the other kingdoms that must have lost their lives probably weren't allied with those nations. It's like, we're gone now. Like, they must have took a major hit. So I can see like how that works out,
Yeah. No, that makes sense, because I was thinking in my head, like, even though I know the world government, they mentioned the Great Cleansing in the past, right? We don't know exactly what they mean by that. What is to their benefit? The rising of the water. What if that was part of the danger that they saw that the ancient kingdom was doing? Because 𝙏𝙏𝙪𝙢𝙗𝙪 said that this happened.
The ancient weapons were created 800 years ago. So it happened during the void.
So yeah, it happened during the void. It shows to me again where I'm linking it back to like where I said Odin or Wano could have partly foreshadowed something. Wano is standing above of already sinking. Old Wano, right? Now we see Laugh-Tale. Have you guys ever noticed where their position of where they're laughing? It doesn't really necessarily look like they're on the island, right?
No, I never thought about that.
I thought about that. I was like, why does it look like that?
Imagine they're like in a clam.
Because it made me think.
Imagine.
It could have been that's why they're not. It's not gonna sound like, oh, it was so sunk the entire time. That's why they were laughing.
Yeah.
But what if you only able to see a little small glimpse of it because the ancient kingdom like is sunken? So what is Laugh-Tale? To me, Laugh-Tale could just be part of the ancient kingdom that's still emerged from.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, the
Could
kingdom,
be
right?
that too.
So it's like the whole bottom of it is like, I'm too early for whatever reason. But you're only seeing glimpses because to me it looked like they were still on the ship. They were relatively close together when we saw the image of Roger pirates laughing and all. To me, it looked like they couldn't even go on the island. Odin said, open up Wano's borders. What if he learned that? Because if he learned the whole century, he must have learned too that the thing is sinking, Yeah. And is rising. Wano could very much happen again. Like where, So it's like open up Wano's borders so this doesn't happen again. Because Wano was already sunken the first time. Like old Wano. A lot of times we see why people become pirates. It's usually, some people say it's not always to escape for something. Odin, in a way, kind of wanted to escape responsibility, so to speak, right? Or not at the very least, he didn't want to be tied down to something. So it goes into Joy Boy. It could be that, but I don't think Oda would write it exactly the same. It could just be also, too, to further their ideas. We saw back in Ohara, it said that they wanted these ideas to be erased from history. But what if Joyboy was trying to share the ideas from the ancient kingdom
Sharing too much, man.
And it could be that too, where say like they were going back to the betrayal, is that the girls they wanted to keep this for themselves. They didn't want the ideas to be shared. This is going back to them being the bad guys though. So it's like they wanted to share the ideas, and that's why they lied. Like, yo, they're trying to give the world what we have. We're aligned with them. Because if they were in alliance before, they would be aligned with the ancient kingdom. That's why I mentioned earlier too. It's like, what if it was 21 kingdoms? And then all the 20 kingdoms aligned against the one, making the 20 alliance against the one kingdom. And it's because we all are advancing or whatever, and you want to share it with the world. Because you see that Celestial Dragon's work is like, we feed ourselves all of the great things, but we give the world nothing. We give them what we want them to read. We control the masses. We give them our leftovers while keeping them satisfied, but also feeding us a little bit to keep going. There's different reasons why people become pirates, right? And of course, it's going to be revealed later on. It shows that how much either the danger or the power that the ancient kingdom had and what they wanted to do was either way it was going to affect the world, right? And that's like, so we're going to decide if it's going to affect the world for good or the worse. The ancient kingdom may have sunk themselves. Mm-hmm. Maybe not purposely, but if you have the power of the ancient kingdoms, one, how do you lose, but how do you sink? So I think there's a piece that we're going to get soon that we're missing of what happened there.
You ready, Seb?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to add from what Lawrence was saying. He was spitting, bro. I'm gonna be real. Like, Lawrence was spitting a whole lot there. I'm really starting to gravitate towards the idea that the Gorosei were a part of Joy Boy's crew, or Nika's crew, or whatever. It's probably why they refer to him as Nika instead of Joy Boy, because it's like the Straw Hat, like, aren't gonna call Luffy Straw Hat. They're gonna call him Luffy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if they were the ones to betray him and cause all this, that means they weren't a part of the original 20 kingdoms, and they made a deal with those 20 kingdoms to get rid of Joy Boy. And it's like, yeah, we'll get rid of him, but we running things. Yeah, I come up, survive, and
I'm running things.
And that would make Emu probably like the right hand, and then the planetary order thing just still works. I kind of really am gravitating to that theory now. 20 Kings was hating, bro. End of the day, we could be all complex and nuanced if we want, but end of the day, it was hating because they had something that y'all ain't have, bro. And y'all did all this to make it happen. The 200 meters thing is kind of crazy. I was thinking of it, like how far that is, but then I started thinking of like when Kaido jumped from the Sky Island, how many meters that must have been. It says like 9,000.
Well, 1 meter equals 3 feet.
Yeah. So I'm like, one,
so 600 feet.
Kaido's insane. And two, 200 meters is still wild to sink islands and things on that level, right? So
yeah, I
started feeling like I need to learn how to swim. That's all I kept thinking about, bro.
Yeah, you just told everybody a stereotype.
Yeah, listen, I know how to swim on I can like make it like from a beach.
You don't have to lie, Craig. You don't have to lie.
Listen, I could get like to an area, right? Like if it's in the like visible distance. Come on, son. I can't survive 200 meters though. You feel me? Nochiko didn't care.
Celestial Dragon.
I was like, yo, this Dragon. Is like pertinent to like your sister's life
it now, bro.
Like your sister is like here going through this and like is the navigator, and they're talking about the world is sinking. Like this should be.
Listen, bro. Nosjuro. No Chico?
Come on.
Yo, they sound similar, bro.
I'll chalk it up to her having faith in Nami. It just was wild to see it, right?
Yeah.
Like, yo, she just doesn't care that this is happening. She's chilling. I don't have much else. I do think that Vivi being part of that like last page or so is important. We were just talking about the 20 kingdoms. The whole chapter is regarding the 20 kingdoms.
Yeah.
And like the decisions made and stuff. And like she's one of the like offspring of one of the original 20 kingdoms. Yeah. This whole time we've been talking about this, and when I read the chapter, I was trying to identify what the other kingdoms were. I know the Dressrosa is one of them, Alabasta is another one, although they stayed because there was really technically 19
Should did research and did notes, bro.
Yo, listen, I was in Atlanta, bro.
I did notes today.
I was
literally
busy.
researched in 2 hours.
I was busy. Do you have notes on this?
I do not.
Then shut up.
We don't have the same thought ideas.
Nah,
what
bro. Don't come for me, bro. Don't come for me, bro. Don't do that.
Huh?
Don't.
You want me to have all the answers?
Yeah.
Sweat?
Anyway.
My bad, yo.
But it got me thinking about other islands and other kingdoms in the One Piece world that have like some sort of built-in way to survive a 200-meter rising ocean level or sea level. I know I just talked about Vivi, but Wapple's kingdom has that giant plateau as well. That has the island up there with the cat. Is it castle up there, or is that just the girl's house? I don't remember. But either way, I'm saying I think that maybe Wapple is one of those 20 kingdoms. Although he sucks, so who really cares?
Shout out to Wapple, bro.
Yeah, what's it called? Drum Kingdom? Yeah. One of the 20, bro.
The Cherry Blossom Kingdom?
We got to get 20 kingdoms, bro. We've probably been to all of them. Low key.
Probably.
Yo,
high chance.
Yeah.
High chance.
Skypiea probably. Who knows,
Hockey.
bro? I did like that bar at the end. That the war.
Spit it, bro.
The war never ended, bro. War never changes.
War never changes.
Shout out to Fallout.
Shout out to Fallout. We falling out right now.
Listen, bro, you ain't lying. Lawrence was bringing out the point about like they don't have the ancient weapons, or at least they don't have all of them. They're still looking for them. They're still searching for them. Vegapunk's confirmed the existence that they still exist, which we've all known. But like, where are they at though? I'm ready to start seeing some ancient weapons.
Well, the ancient weapons exist. We know that.
I'm ready to start seeing them. Is my point.
Yeah.
I know
we've
Lucia
seen
go
one
hard.
of them.
We don't even know that.
No, we see Poseidon.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah, that's an ancient weapon. Even though that's not like.
Let me rephrase.
That might be Fishman created.
Let me rephrase. I want to start seeing them in action.
Yeah,
and maybe Lelucia was that.
Yeah, Lelucia definitely was that, bro.
There's
no way.
I'm trying to see, bro. Because if the Mother Flame is a fraction of what it could be, that means Lelucia could be done. Like, remember in Star Wars where they wiped up that one planet,
and now
then
they
like wiping out 5 planets at once and stuff?
Yeah, that's so scary. Imagine you were taking a dookie and you just
would it matter, bro?
Exploded, bro. What are you doing then?
What do you mean? What am I doing? My planet's gone, bro.
I just go in the toilet. I just be like, yo, I'm safe here.
Well, that's all I got, man. I'm trying to see Eam's face.
Yeah.
I hope she a baddie.
I hope she's a baddie.
Oh my God, I hope she's a baddie, bro.
Little Dottie Bobby. You finito?
I'm done.
All right, I will say this, bro. The 20 kingdoms might have gone hard, but I didn't see one sword in that empty throne room that was black. I'll tell you that. I have a theory. I think the previous Poseidon created the calm belt when they were losing the war. And I do not know how they were losing the war. Poseidon, and then you got Water 7 ancient shipwrights building you Pluton, and then you had Wano who has all this tech too that's unbreakable.
Whole time Joy Boy like, yo, we don't gotta fight, guys. We don't have to fight.
And then they got Uranus, most likely from the Birkins that built it. I'm like, bro, how did the 20 kingdoms beat them, bro? Like,
listen, bro, Dirk beat the Heat, bro.
This is literally like being 28-3 in a football game at the Super Bowl, and then you just lose.
It's
like,
worse, bro.
How, bro?
He gassed out.
I will say that most likely they obviously took precautions to say, yo, we're losing the war. We know we're losing the war, and we have to send out these poneglyphs. We have to have this letter from Lily. What's Poseidon's role? And I've always said this. Poseidon has kind of been a non-factor for these lores that we keep getting dropped on us. What happened to her? What was said? What was done?
She got pregnant.
She's not even mentioned except once, and it was that she existed with that Joy Boy, and they were cool. That's it. If she did have a part to play, I think she created the combo. She took her precautions. You know how Boa told Blackbeard that even after I pass away, those people are still not going to be turned back to normal. They're going to stay stoned. Even if a person that has the devil fruit later on will not be able to turn them. They're going to stay stoned. What if her ability is like the Aquaman ability that we've seen Poseidon already have with the Neptunians, where she can command all these fish and program them throughout, I would guess fish don't live forever. But we don't know how long the Neptunians live for.
Like through perpetuity?
Yeah.
Won't
so
attack. Yeah.
They're not allowed to like ever leave here, which splits the oceans. That way, some islands could be safe from the world government because, one, they didn't have the technology to cross the calm belt until Vegapunk arrived. Vegapunk was the first one to coat the bottom of battleships with sea stone. That way, they could cross the calm belt. That was said from, I believe, Nami or Kobe or somebody like that.
During the post-Water 7
Yeah,
stuff,
Nami was overhearing a conversation. She was eavesdropping. That's something I think that Poseidon probably did back then. If Vegapunk is not able to replicate the technology, such as the Mother Flame, or probably Uranus, right? That means whatever ancient weapon was back then, if it's not destroyed, and it had a power source that was unbelievable, might have caused the same damage it did, but it broke apart, it flooded the oceans 200 meters. But here's the more important factor. You remember how they always said New World's oceans are way more deadlier? Not because of the people, but because the weather is so much more dramatically different. Maybe that's where it was used, and it changed the weather forever. Vegapunk mentions the climatology. It affected the oceans and the climate so much that it changed it forever. And We get that where? Alabasta. Alabasta, when they tried to make it rain, what happened to the climate? It took rain away. So there's been foreshadows to climate change too. And it's by weapons created by man. So it's like, oh, snap. Like, nah, like we're diving deep, bro. I mean, I know I'm saying some things, but they're not that interesting. But
no, you actually made me think of something. Because you're talking about changing climates. This is just a wild take because it is not, when I thought about it, it doesn't make sense. The Ancient Kingdom was in the New World. And Laugh Tale is probably like, you know, an already sunken ancient kingdom, but like a piece of it. But when you talked about it changing climates, or what they're able to do, and we're getting these ancient weapons from the ancient kingdom, what if one of the weapons was creation of abilities? Like one of the ancient kingdoms that's not spoken about creates devil fruits.
I think once Vegapunk let us know what it was.
Yeah, I know.
It was kind of like...
But that's what I said.
But
he still said it was a theory, technically.
Technically, too, Lawrence could be right. Because
they could have a mass idea creation situation.
Exactly. They could create enough...
Did I just say mass idea creation situation?
It's okay, bro.
When you were saying that, it made me think of that.
Yeah.
Because the ancient kingdom is supposed to be so advanced that it could, like, it could turn your dreams or realities into reality, into fruits.
Dreams and
so you can harness that power.
I need to hear from Emu. I want Emu to probably say something to themselves. Like, even the crown of Emu looks very similar to the crowns of that silhouette picture of Joy Boy and the Three Kings that we saw. It's going to be very interesting to see how that kingdom played its part. We don't know who's right.
Yeah.
That's it, bro.
And
we don't know who's right.
We got Emu's name, right? The family name's Nerona. So was there a Nerona kingdom?
Wait.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, they showed us the kingdom. Yeah.
I was thinking to Lily.
Yo, low-key, Perona. Perona part of the kingdom, bro.
Don't make Perona more important than she is, bro, please.
That's a very good point. I didn't
and
realize
you know what she
too.
does? She suppresses people's wills, bro.
Stop.
Marv know what I'm talking about. He's seen Thriller Bark. Mm-hmm.
But that's a good call out. I didn't even notice that Eam is very much still dressed like them.
Hold on. And you know who she's cool with? Mihawk. And who has the same eyes as Mihawk?
Dun, dun, dun.
Damn, yo. Smush fry. I'm telling you, bro.
Marv, have you seen
Bro.
Black Dynamite? I feel like I end up asking Marv this question like once every 60 episodes.
Listen, bro. I'm connecting dots, bro.
Listen, bro.
Y'all not doing this, bro. All right.
A sleepiest, of course. I guarantee you there's an Sleepiest reference in One Piece somewhere, bro. Listen.
And who is the god of war?
Aries! That's
And the condom liquor gives you what? Gives you what? Lil Richie. And what's another name for Lil Richie?
It's Richard.
All right, I'm done.